How do y'all gather around for the SEC Pitching Prospects.com podcast, where we're talking big boys with big arms from Baton Rouge to Tuscaloosa, College Station to Gainesville, and all stops in between. Yeehaw! I'm Chris Hatfield, and I am joined by our Cape Cod League correspondent, Ian Cunto. Thank you for not rage quitting this time.
What are we doing here? Why do I do this to myself? I could have just recorded a nice episode tomorrow by myself or with a special guest, and instead I put myself through hearing your Southern accent.
For those who don't know, I tried to do that with a Southern accent the first time, and he rage quit.
I did not rage quit. My Zoom died, thankfully, right before I was going to rage quit. But
I killed your Zoom.
Yeah.
Oh God. I mean, yeah. I mean, it's very funny because during Devin Pearson's media availability after the end of the draft today, like one of the media members asking questions of him was like incredulous that he said they weren't actually specifically targeting college pitching for the entire draft. Because he was just basically saying like, look, like we targeted a group of college pitchers that we really liked. The bats we liked went early. We did get some bats that we, were intentional with some bats we liked that we did draft, but it's just a result of how the board went. And the guy was just incredulous. He was just like, I don't believe you. He all but said, I don't believe you. It was very funny. But anyway, yeah. So it is Monday the 14th. The draft is over. The Red Sox have made 21 picks, of which 16 are college pitchers, 5 are college hitters, and 1 high school hitter. Correct? Off the top of my head, that's what I have, Ian.
Yeah, that sounds right.
Yep. So, and almost all, like, we were joking as the draft was going on, like, oh, SEC pitcher who's over 6'2", drink. And you
would be in the hospital if you were doing that game.
Yes, don't play that game. Don't play the Red Sox draft drinking game. Yeah, I mean, we'll have reaction. We did the recorded. We recorded last night after night 1. If you want our night 1 reaction, listen to episode number 372. If you want, we're going to react to the whole thing today. We're not going to do scouting reports or anything on the first day picks. Again, go listen to last night's episode if you want that. It's only 45 minutes. This is the companion piece to that episode where we're going to talk about the draft overall, maybe some notes on some day 2 guys. Today was rounds 4 through 20, which was a slog. It started at 11:30, Ian, and went through like 8.
Yeah, it was a grind. This new format, I'm gonna guess teams aren't gonna be in favor of it next season.
No, sir.
I bet they go back to the 3 days next year, just as a hunch. I mean, I think 2 days is probably better, but like
if you're gonna do 2 days, then do more than the 3 rounds. Like they did 100 picks last night, and then they did what's 30 times 16 rounds. Like, what are we doing?
Well, but the thing is, there's less time in between picks today and everything. But still,
it almost makes it worse.
It was a long day.
Yeah,
I think that the idea, it's hard because you want to do it for TV, so you have the first round with like 4 minutes per pick, but it just takes so long because there's 34 picks or whatever. So I don't know. I don't know what the correct answer is, but I have a feeling next year they're going to go back to 3 days. Just do like 1 to 3, do 1 to 3, then 4 to 12 or something, and then the rest of the draft.
Or do what the way you used to do it. It was 1 to 3.
No, it was 1 and 2, wasn't it?
I could have sworn Antonio. No, I guess it was 1 and 1 and 2.
It was 1 and 2.
Competitive balance.
Well, it used to be picks. 1 and just the competitive balance. Then it was like
1. Then they added the second round. That's right.
Yeah,
but then day 2 was 30 to 10, and day 3 was 11 to 20.
Yeah,
which honestly probably made more sense and was more humane.
Yeah.
The Red Sox drafted a lot of college pitchers, a lot of guys who are tall, a lot of guys who throw hard. As Devin Pearson said in the media availability, they like big frame, big velo, and stuff were the 3 things they were looking for. And so we're going to get down to all of that. But if you want to support the show, there are a few ways you could do that. You could tell a friend, tell a neighbor, tell the big-bodied, high-velo SEC pitcher that lives next door to you about the show. You can rate and review us on Apple Podcasts, iTunes, Spotify, or wherever you listen. And you can support us during the Sox Prospects donation drive. A bunch of people signed up last night, Ian, for the Patreon, and I know some folks who donated in the donation drive today. You can donate at soxprospects.com/donate, or you can join us at patreon.com/soxprospects and get perks for your support of the show. We appreciate everyone's support who's been able to give us some money. This is how we keep the site free. We pay for firsthand travel costs for scouting, things like that, as well as back end IT costs, hardware, software, etc. We appreciate, I'm like wheezing. We appreciate everyone's support. Appreciate everyone's support. Donation drive goes through the end of July. So you've got a couple weeks left if you want to support the show, support the website. You can do it there. And of course, send your emails to podcast@soxprospects.com. We want to talk about what you all want to hear about. And what you all want to hear about, I'm sure, is day 2 of the draft. And the Red Sox today made 17 selections, all but one of them college players. I think one JUCO or two JUCOs, two JUCOs.
Well, no, all but two. So, one high
One
schooler, one
JUCO,
JUCO.
one high school guy out of Puerto Rico. That's what it was.
Yeah.
Um, like we said, a lot of pitchers, a lot of big body pitchers with velo and or stuff, almost all out of the SEC. What do you, as you're sitting here, what are your kind of big takeaway thoughts? And I guess we can get into some individual guys, but
Yeah, I think we
it's
just talk in
interesting to see
general
them
first.
slant this heavy towards pitching again for the second year in a row was interesting.
Well, I think that's my biggest takeaway is this draft is in a lot of ways basically a mirror image of last year's draft.
Yeah,
Except for in the first
the
round
first pick.
they took a pitcher instead of a hitter this year.
Mm-hmm.
And you look like last year 80% college guys, this year 90% college guys. Last year 70% pitchers, this year 71% pitchers. Last year all but one of their pitchers was over 6'2", and the one that wasn't was Conrad Kaysen. This year every single pitcher was over 6'2". Last year 71% right-handers, 29% lefties. This year 67% righties, 33% lefties. Like it's just in a lot of ways they pretty clearly have types that they're looking for in the draft. And I think that kind of echoing a little bit what we talked about last night, they probably were planning on taking a bat in the first round, but the guys they wanted got taken ahead of them, so they
Mm-hmm.
pivoted to the college starter
The
who
guy that
fell.
fell. Yeah.
Yeah, but the rest of the draft, I think, probably played out pretty much how they expected, and I think that's just the way this team is situated. You know, you look at the number of college picks they took. When you're an analytically inclined team, that makes a lot of sense because the data for college guys is just way better than it is for high schoolers.
Sure. Yeah.
So they have way more data to go into their models from the college guys. And especially when you're talking about SEC teams, when you go to the best competition in college baseball,
Mm-hmm.
the data is going to be better there from the SEC than it is going to be from the small colleges. So I think that's why you're seeing such an emphasis on the SEC, especially too, because when you have like scouting wise, it's a lot easier to see the SEC guys than it is, the smaller college guys or whatever. So
Yeah.
I think that given what we know about how they're prioritizing things, I think it makes a lot of sense. The drafts, the last two of them, frankly, have turned out the way they have.
Mm-hmm.
And with that said, though, like I thought it was interesting what they did today. I think that they have pretty clear archetypes, and the one thing that I thought was different this year was with the pitchers. There was a lot more variance with the deliveries, the release profiles, things like that. Last year they were very strict, where almost every pitcher they took was low release height, flat approach angle, things like that. This year there was way more variance. They had more guys throwing from high three quarters, more vertical release heights. You had a couple like lower, more traditional what they targeted last year, like someone like Cade Fisher, who was a 18th round pick, kind of fits the mold of what they were taking last year. But a lot of the guys they took were more vertical. The only real similarities were they all threw hard for the most part. For the righties did. The righties threw hard. The lefties, on the other hand, they were more like projection, like less velo types. So I thought that was interesting that they're kind of diversifying when it comes to kind of some of the characteristics with the pitching, other than if you're a righty, you throw hard. And if you're a lefty, like, we'll have some projection. Maybe we can add velo, kind of like what they've done with Connolly early. So I see the vision. I think now the question is just number one, can you keep these guys healthy? Because I mean, if you look at the current system right now, it's a lot of injured pitchers.
Yeah.
And it's been that way for a while. And now obviously pitching is a volume game, but you're putting a lot of eggs in the basket of pitching with this draft. And if a couple guys get hurt, it has a chance, you're taking a lot of risk with that. Whereas position players, I feel like there's a little more certainty there with health.
Yeah, it does feel a little bit like they're accounting for natural attrition
Yeah.
almost. I mean, you look at literally in the past couple of days, the Red Sox have put Shane Drowan. Shane Drowan went on the 60-day IL. Jojo Ingracia went on the 60-day IL. Zach Fogel went on the full season IL. They're probably going to 60-day Jedickson Paez and Juan Valera because they've both been out for longer than 60 days.
Yeah.
So
Well, no, I thought
it's,
Valera was like 49 days or something.
or he's close, maybe. I think he's close, is what it was.
Yeah.
Yeah. Because it's like by the time he comes out of the break, it's going to be in the 50s. So it's like at that point, just have him sit another week. And plus he's going to need a rehab assignment at this point anyway.
Yeah, but the FCL is almost over is the issue.
That's true. The FCL only has like 9 more days or something.
Yeah. So
Um,
I mean,
yeah.
it's and
And they're
that
not
is
going
the
to make the
thing.
playoffs. So
No. Well, and that's the thing that is when you look at this draft, they're like, you look at last year's, he got traded, but you had like Braden Montgomery to fall back on the year before you had Kyle Teal. You had that high
mhm.
end position player.
Yep.
This draft doesn't have it. Like, we're not going to see pretty much any of these pitchers until this year, maybe a couple of the later round guys, but none of the big bonus
Yeah.
earlier round guys. And
And
coming next year, if something happens to one of Witherspoon, Phillips, Ianson, like things going to get shallow pretty quick with the draft at the top because you might be, it's so.
yes and
I
no. I
mean,
mean,
it
you
is
look
what
at
it
this
is.
year, like Brendan Neely still hasn't pitched yet. Like, if you have that many, you can kind of get through it. Just you need guys to pop. I mean, the thing is, from last year, Tolley popped, Clark popped. Um,
Even like Blake Ide has been good this year
It has been
because
good
you look at last year's draft. Ironically, they're
early.
because you look, their third highest bonus last year was Conrad Kaysen, who has not pitched in since the beginning of the season with elbow
He pitched
soreness.
once. He pitched
Yeah,
once and he hit once. That's it.
yep. And then Brandon Neely hasn't pitched at all this year, including spring training. So, and that was their third highest
Mhm.
bonus. So, yeah, no, it's definitely a risky approach, but as long if a couple of guys pop, you can, as you said, you can kind of get through it.
Yeah. Yeah. Quick note on high school versus college guys. Like I did mention, Devin Pearson, the scouting director, did say that there were bats they liked that went early, including high school bats. He said there was a group of high school hitters we liked, but either we didn't have the money or they went earlier than we could pick them. So he's basically saying, look, like the good high school hitters are going very early in the first round, or you have to pay them so much of your bonus pool to pay them to get them away from college commitments, especially with things like NIL money now. Like there are programs, for example, in the SEC that do have legit NIL money. So guys aren't going to take 500K to sign away from college now, because they're getting at or close to that or more in college. So
Well, especially, and the other thing is too, the fact you have to factor in is that now all baseball players are on full scholarships, which wasn't the case before.
is that
The
true?
Yep, it's part of the House settlement. So
Oh, geez. Okay. I
yeah,
forgot about the
so
settlement.
baseball players are all full scholarships now. Whereas
Hmm.
in the past, you had to make a decision if you were not going to like, or
You're on
you weren't a
quarter
top guy and you were
scholarship.
going to like, yeah, you're still paying for your education. Whereas now that's not an issue anymore.
Yeah, your family
So
has money. Yeah, because I mean, I remember like I know a guy that went to play baseball at a D1 school in the Northeast, and like the team loved him because he qualified for need based aid,
yeah,
and they were like, we
so
don't have to use a scholarship on you. Like we love, like
so
we
that's
would give
not
you
that's
one, but
not
we, yeah,
that changes the financials of the situation. Whereas you said you combine that with NIL, and now
hmm
you're going to need to buy guys out of a college commitment.
hmm
You're going to need more, which is a
yep,
shame because I'm just going to say it. I wanted Jack Bauer on the Red Sox so badly,
yeah, you did.
and
I could tell.
yeah, as a big 24 fan, it was the dream,
Hmm.
and unfortunately now we have to go again in 3 years, which hopefully it's better than season four. But no, I'm just kidding. Actually, season four is pretty good. So let's not talk about the later seasons. Um, but yeah, no, I think that overall though, it's a really interesting class. They have as within just looking at specifically at the pitchers, there's a lot of interesting kind of profiles. There's a lot of guys who throw strikes, and then there's also some guys who have no clue where it's going and throw it, but throw extremely hard. So that's definitely interesting. I think it's gonna be a really good test for the pitching dev infrastructure because this is not one cookie cutter class. There is, as I said, a wide range of kind of profiles and
Hmm.
things that each guy specifically needs to work on. So we're gonna get to see kind of how good their individual development is with each of these pitchers. Um, in trying to maximize their abilities. So I'm excited for that.
Hmm.
Position player wise, definitely lighter, as you said.
Yeah,
Um, but I thought the position player thing that was interesting is they kind of took like two ends of the spectrum. You had on the one hand, you had
yeah,
the Henry Godbout, Jack Winay, and Skylar King kind of fall on the what we've seen them target guys with good contact skills, like really high zone contact rates.
Hmm.
Maybe need to add some strength, add some bat speed,
Hmm.
more consistently hit the ball hard. But on the flip side, they took two guys in Mason White and Maximus Martin, who are like power over hit guys with huge contact questions. And
Yeah.
so, but what they do well is they pull the ball in the air, which we know the Red Sox have a big emphasis on that. They're really good
Hmm.
angle plays, like their launch angles are optimized, things like that. So it'd be like if you could combine the hitters they drafted into like one player or a couple players, you would have like really good hitters, but they each do one end of the spectrum now. Well, and it's about can they get them towards the middle, doing both of the things well.
Hmm.
And we've seen
Hmm.
them do that with the contact side, but I don't think we've really seen them elevate like a power over hit guy yet. So I'm interested to see how that plays out.
Yeah, and it's interesting. Well, I mean, I guess coming out of the draft, wasn't that kind of the book on Anthony?
Yeah, but I mean, I don't consider Anthony because he was drafted under the previous. He was a high and blue pick. And
Sure. I mean, but I guess that's recent enough that I'm just saying like this player dev. It's
I
basically,
mean, by the time they got Roman Anthony, he was already a top prospect, though. I'm talking
yeah, I
about
mean, he
like
was 79th overall and he got their largest bonus. So it's practically like he went in the first. So that's fair.
because
But
like I'm
when
just
you say elevate, you mean more like what they did with Campbell.
well, I think it's what they did with Christian Campbell,
Right.
what they did with Chase Mydroth,
Hmm.
which I guess
Hmm.
he was the same draft as Anthony, so that's
Yeah.
kind of goes against that. But I think more like what I was thinking, like Christian Campbell, Zach Erhard, what they've done with those guys.
Hmm. Hmm.
I'm interested to see because that's the thing they've done well, and now it's a question of can they go the other way with Mason White and
Hmm.
Maximus Martin and kind of get them better contact skills.
A note on the position players, just positionally. Godbout, White, and Martin were announced as shortstops. Winay was announced as a third baseman. Skylar King and Fabian Bonilla are outfielders. Um, Yesterday we mentioned Godbout's going to play short and second. Asked about that today. Apparently White is definitely going to be playing shortstop as well as some second base. Um, Maximus Martin, which by the way, great name, is going to be playing both up the middle positions as well as center field. So they're going to work him at all three positions. Jack Winay, announced as a third baseman, is going to work at first, third, and left field. So they're going to be moving all of those guys to multiple positions, which is their MO, but that's the plan per Devin Pearson. Of course, those plans are always subject to change. When I asked about that with Nazan Zanatello, the response was that he was going to work out at shortstop and center field, and Zanatello never wound up in the outfield. So these guys come in, and the plan can change. So, but that's interesting as far as those guys go. But yeah, it was interesting. Just some of these. I mean, because when I saw Mason White, my first when we were in the Slack, my first question was like, "Wow, this doesn't really seem like a Red Sox guy." But then you made the pulling the ball in the air point, which made a lot of sense. So it's different aspects of what they do, like you said.
Exactly.
So pitching, Ian. I don't know. I don't know if we should like go through every single one of these guys, or
I think
maybe
we can
just
just
kind of
go through it because some of them are going to
yeah.
be quick because there's
Oh, and
not a lot of info on some.
one note on Winay. He's from Newton, so
Oh,
there's your
there you
local
go.
boy.
He went to
Yeah.
Bell Hill too.
Hmm. Hmm.
Belmont Hill, that is, I should specify. But
Yeah.
but yeah, no, it's I think it makes sense just because I think they deserve a mention, and especially because we're not going to see the pitchers probably until next year for the most part. We
Yeah.
should probably talk about them today since we likely won't for a while after
Yeah.
this.
And they're going to be UDFA's. They're going to bring in some undrafted free
They
agents.
have to
They have to.
sign
I
some
mean,
catchers and position players.
I asked about that at the media availability, and Devin said, like, yeah, we have guys in the next room over who are looking through our rosters and figuring out what we need to bring in. They literally didn't draft the catcher.
No,
So
which is crazy. I mean,
they've got to sign at least
it's not
one.
crazy. It's just that like they're gonna have to attack the minor league free agency. Maybe it's something they look to get in like minor league rule 5. I don't know. I just the catching options in the system right now are really rough. And you look at what it is for next year and
Well,
it's not
look at, I
pretty.
mean, not even next year. Look at it right now. You've got literally one catcher in Worcester right now because they traded Blake Sable for cash
Well,
to
I
the
mean,
extent
but
Sable was a catcher.
I was about to say like
Like
that did not move the needle for me at all
he could, well, but I'm
because
just saying
he's not a catcher.
he's
He's
not, but he's a
awful
starting
defensively.
caliber AAA player, which I don't know that I would
But
say about Ender
I
Solero.
honestly don't think I would want him catching those
Sure,
pitchers.
I agree, and we saw that at the major league level, right?
Like
Like,
I just I like I just don't think that he's someone that I would want in my organization for working with pitchers. I'll just say that.
No, that's probably
I
fair.
just
That's
don't think
probably
he's good
fair.
enough defensively.
But
Like,
at any
and
rate, it's basically Sebi Zavala and pray for rain in AAA right
well,
now.
no, I mean, Lira can catch, he just can't hit it all. So
Hmm.
like, he's fine back there, you know. And if that's all at AAA, that's all I really care about is your glove that can handle the pitching staff, and if he can do that, and they're confident in that, I don't have a problem with him being there.
Hmm.
Like he's going to hit 095, but whatever. I mean, that doesn't
Yeah.
matter.
Double A, it's Ronald Rosario and Brooks Brannon splitting duties. In Greenville, it's Yohan Fran Garcia and Hudson White with like Juan Montero as the third catcher who doesn't really play. And then in Salem, it's Claver Salazar and Andrew Musette with Diego Valoria, the third catcher who he literally has pitched more this year than he has played catcher.
At least basically the bullpen catcher, right?
Yeah, exactly. But the thing is, it's like Valoria and Montero are both third catchers who are active because there aren't enough position players in the system to put them on the dev list.
Yeah.
They have to
Well,
be active,
and this
or
is
there's
the
no
issue
reason
though.
not to have them active, I guess is the way to put it.
The issue for me though is, and the thing that kind of concerns me is like next year, kind of like what we saw this year, they're going to have to force guys up a level who
Hmm.
probably aren't ready for it. Like Cliver Salazar, for example, like I think he's a good defender. I don't think he can hit it all right now.
Hmm.
Could he in the future? Maybe, probably not. But him going to Greenville, he's just going to get destroyed by that pitching at the
But he's going
plate,
to have to,
and
like you
but he's
said.
going to have
Like,
to.
yeah,
So I don't love that as being a potential outcome is like guys getting pushed to a level they don't belong at because there's no one else.
yeah. And then it's like Gerardo and Jorge Rodriguez are going to have to move up from the FCL to Salem.
Yeah.
In the FCL, you're going to have, pick your two catchers from the DSL, probably Franklin Primera, who's actually been pretty good, and Lester Suarez has been the starter for the blue team. But
Well,
like that's it. There's zero depth.
well, the
Like
thing
there's
that's
two at each
interesting,
level.
the thing that's interesting to me is you look at what's happened over the past like year plus with all the transactions they made. The Crochet trade was 3 position players. At the deadline last year, they
Hmm.
gave up what was it, 7 position players?
Yeah,
I think in
Lugo,
minor league rule
Cavadas.
five
Yeah,
this year they lost another, what was it, 4? Like there's been, double digits position players have left the system in the last year via transactions, and they just haven't really been replenished. You even look at minor league rule 5 last year. They took all pitchers, I believe, or did they take 1 position player?
no, there were four pitchers.
Yeah.
It was
So it's like
Anderson, Medina, Darvin Garcia, and
Hobie Harris.
thank you.
And then but you think about it, even in the trades they made this year, like the Quinn Priester trade, you got 1 position player out of that, 2 pitchers. Other than that, have they acquired a position player directly in a trade?
Other than the Quinn Priester to Milwaukee trade, no.
Yeah. I was trying to think, and I can't think of one off the top of my head. So
I mean, it's minor
I
league
mean, I
free
guess James
agents.
Tibbs. James Tibbs is the other one.
Oh,
Tibbs. I forgot
Tibbs,
Tibbs. Yeah.
sure, yep, Tibbs, and then
Um,
that's not counting like waiver deals. Like some
no,
of
no,
these
no,
guys I
no.
think of as minor league free agents, and maybe they came in on a waiver claim or something. But to me, it's the same difference.
Yeah, no, I'm not counting them. I'm talking about like an
Yeah.
actual transaction. So, well, I guess that is a transaction, but you know what
Well,
I mean.
yeah, because I'm
But
looking at Portland. Other than Tibbs, they're all homegrown. Greenville is, other than Yo Ferry, all homegrown.
Salem is all
Salem is all
homegrown.
DSL guys. Like
Yeah, and FCL is
FCL
all
is all, well, yeah,
same
and
thing.
position player side, same thing. Yep. Although I guess Jan Cruz
Jan Cruz,
and
but
Ortiz were
Ortiz, but like
drafted, but
it's
same difference.
they're all draftees or DSL guys.
Hmm.
So yeah, there's just been such a drain, and I do wonder how it's going to play out at the deadline because I mean this is a little off topicy, but both Ken Rosenthal and Jeff Passan today talked about how the Red Sox are going to be aggressive buyers at the deadline, and it's something that Craig Breslow has made very clear that he's buying. And it makes me wonder, like, what's going to happen there if, Franklin Arias and Justinson and Garcia are a couple of the guys you deal at the deadline.
Oh, I did a
What is
radio
the
hit
system?
today, and that was the question: is who could they deal? And I find myself saying Arias and Justinson Garcia, and I'm like, God, they're going to be all pitchers.
Yeah,
Like I mean, and
that's
like look, I look at that high minors pitching. If you find a team that really likes David Sandlin or Connolly early, like
well, no, those are guys that teams will want because at the end of the
sure,
day, when push comes to shove at the deadline, teams want close to MLB ready pitching.
but are those going to be the guys that headline a deal for a
No,
starting pitcher that you need? No,
no,
maybe you can
they
get a
don't.
reliever, but
Well, but the problem is that, and this is something that point Coley's made on Section 10 is they don't have the chips to headline a high end starting pitcher deal unless they're trading Jaron Duran or they
mhm.
trade someone else for assets first.
Yeah, because I
Because
can't see Arias plus.
it's just going to be really hard to get a deal done for a high end starting pitcher unless you can find a team that absolutely loves Franklin Arias.
Yeah,
And
and yeah,
because I maintain I don't think they're trading Peyton Tolley under any circumstance.
no.
And other than that, they just don't have that high end prospect anymore. Like they really could use Luis Perales being back pitching right now, so teams could
Mm,
get a look at him. But
mm,
I don't think that's going to happen until after the deadline.
no.
And as much as I think Justin Garcia has really elevated his game, James Tibbs is a solid guy. Like those are kind of like your second, third piece in a package for a high end starter. They're not your first piece. And so I don't see a pathway to get it like a Joe Ryan type unless you're trading one of the outfielders on the MLB roster in addition to prospects.
You know
So
who
it just puts them in a weird spot.
mhm. The Arias headlines a deal that you make with a team that's extremely model reliant, who had a scout that saw him in the FCL, and they
Yeah.
haven't had anyone get eyes on him since. That's who takes Arias as the top piece in the deal.
Yeah, you need a team that believes in the youth and thinks that there's more power projection coming.
Yep.
And but even with that, I don't know how
You're
good
not
a
getting Joe
prospect
Ryan
that's.
for that.
Yeah, you're not getting a number two starter. You're getting a guy probably who's like a 4, a 3.
Mhm.
Like I even look at
They
like
have that.
the high end rental position players. If you want to go out and get one of the bats, is like it's probably like Arias straight up for those guys. That's probably what you're talking about.
Mhm.
And then that's so it's just it's in a weird they're in a weird spot position player wise where they're just now it's basically all relying on international development for position players.
Yeah.
And the problem is last year's class they whiffed at the top with all of their big bonus guys for the most
Yeah.
part.
It wasn't
Position
a good
player wise,
class. We heard that before they even came
yeah.
over.
But
That it wasn't a great class.
you look at their signings from last year's IFA class 2024. Vladimir Asensio didn't make it stateside, and I think he's hitting under 100 in the
Well, would
F.
say the bonus too.
He got $1 million. Carlos Cascarol was their second highest bonus. He got 590,000. He's been cut already. Edwin Brito was their third highest bonus. He got 450,000. He's in the FCL, I believe,
He's been awful.
hitting 148.
Like he
Those were
started
their
the year starting, and he like hasn't been able to like he's basically a bench outfielder
but
now.
yeah, so that's their
He's
three
struggled
biggest
so much.
bonus guys last year.
And then
And
after that, you get to Anderson Fermin, who's been decent,
well, and
but
this
he
is
got
it.
400K. Like,
But and this is where you look at that FCL team, and I talked to multiple scouts over the last week about them. There's two guys that they have is to follow on position player wise. It's Fermin and Jorge Rodriguez, the catcher. Other than that, like everyone on that team is probably going to get destroyed in Salem next season.
I mean,
And
we'll see. I
so
mean, you don't know how like guys will grow over the offseason. I mean, the most important, I think for those guys, the most important time of the year is the time we don't see them in the offseason. So you
definitely,
never know what,
definitely,
like,
no, it
like
definitely
for
is, and
example, coming into this year, we would have not said anything about Andy Azakar. We
that's
like,
and
you
that's
know,
fair. But even him, like he's gone up to Salem and really struggled. So I
sure.
don't know. It's just it's a weird spot they're in position player wise.
I do. Yeah. But that was one of the takeaways I had, that like, this draft puts a lot of pressure on this year's DSL class, which we understand to be very good. Dorian Soto at the top, Harold Rivas, Hector Ramos, and then a pretty good class of guys behind them in your sort of set of like low bonus guys mixed with the other kind of 6-figure guys.
They need some guys to pop from that lower group though.
They do. And they're going to, and I mean, like there's room if like Soto, Ramos, and Rivas all are come over and show out in camp, like they could get to Salem really quick,
I
like
mean, Brian
Gonzalez
Gonzalez
did.
was there when it was it a month?
Justin.
And Justin, excuse me, you're right.
Yeah.
What was it, a month? Right?
He
May,
played one. I think he played one game in the FCL.
which starts. I think that was May
It was
5th or
it
something.
was
It
yeah,
started or
early May.
4th.
Yep,
Yeah.
yep, May 5th. So
Um.
yeah, I mean, like, and I think a few of those guys could do that.
Yeah. But I mean, it's hard. When the thing with that is those guys are just so far away though that even if everything breaks right, you're still probably looking at 3 years before they're pushing the 2 years before they're pushing the high minors.
Mm-hmm.
There's just going to be it's kind of an adjustment where we've been so used to just a steady stream of position player prospects funneling through the high minors, and now there's just going to be a huge lull, and it's just going to be pitching basically, which is just a drastic change.
Yeah,
And
yeah,
I know the counter argument. It's the point I think I made yesterday was that you can trade pitching for hitting. Like that's definitely something you can do, but it's just maybe you could do the reverse of the Nick York trade, do like the Quinn Priester for Nick York trade, except you're the Priester side. So that's definitely a possibility.
It just
but
doesn't happen very often.
it's harder. The thing with pitching is just the injury risk. Like, I
Hmm.
don't know. I just think there's more reliability. So it's going to be interesting to see kind of what the system looks like maybe next season, probably like by the May of June of next season, where things are position player wise.
Want to talk about some draftees?
Sure.
All right, let's we already talked about the hitters, so let's go to the
Well,
fifth round. What?
we didn't really talk about the hitters at all. We just talked about it in general.
Okay, I mean, but do you want to go through all 17 of them in detail?
I mean, I thought we would at least just touch on them.
Okay,
I
that's
mean,
fine.
there's not a
All
lot to
right,
say
yeah,
about
let's
some
roll
of them,
through
but
them. All
yeah.
right. Mason White was the fourth round pick, shortstop out of Arizona, ranked in the top 200 by MLB, BA, and ESPN. Um, he was one of the swing and miss type guys,
Yep.
right?
Yeah.
Um,
Power over hit, very quick bat, a lot of pull side power, 111.5 max EV, 51% hard hit. So we love that. But I think the thing that was interesting with him is that he 32.3% chase last year. So elevated chase rate. His contact rate was below average, like 75% contact rate. And that's with metal bats. So, but the things they like launch angle on pull was almost 22 degrees. Hard hit launch angle was almost 19 degrees. Air pull 48 or 49%. Like those are all things the Red Sox really like, as they've talked about with the emphasis on hitting the ball in the air to the pull side. So he does a lot of things they like well. It's just going to be interesting to see if they can kind of get more contact skills out of him.
mhm. The fifth rounder was right-hander Christian Fauch, right out of Arkansas, ranked in the top 300 by both MLB and Baseball America. Um, I don't know. Let's see. Yeah, I think that was it. I don't think he was on either ESPN
He was
Fangraphs
not
or
on
Keith
ESPN.
Law. Um, Interesting guy, another fastball heavy guy. Also throws a splitter, Ian.
Yep, but he's a closer too. So like pure or reliever,
Pure
pure
reliever.
relief profile.
I should have asked if they were going to start him or not.
I don't. I would guess not, based on
Well, I
his
mean, you
strike
never
throwing,
know.
but that is true. I guess was it Neely last year or Tiger? One of them was a reliever
I think
last year.
Tiger was a reliever. I mean, what they do is they bring these guys into Salem and they all throw bulk innings,
Yeah.
right? I mean, but you look at even like Brendan Clark hasn't really thrown more than 3 to 4 innings this year. So
Yeah. But with Fauci, he's massive velo. He averaged 98.1. I think that's the highest of any of the pitchers they drafted. I'll have to
I
double
think that
check
sounds
that.
right. Yeah.
Maxed out at 100.3. Needs to throw more strikes though, but it's a big frame. 6'3", 240. His velo, he's more like a velo than a shape play, but he's got pretty good run on his fastball. Splitter's got a 49% whiff rate. So that's pretty interesting, but it's more of like a chase whiff. He's not landing that in the zone for strikes. I bet they work on a breaking ball with him. That was definitely something. He threw a slider. He rarely threw it this year. I think it was, yeah, he threw 6 sliders this year, or at least that were
Okay.
tracked. So, not really a pitch he used much. He had a couple cutters too, which I'm guessing might have been just been the slider, and they just got missed.
Yeah,
But he's probably gonna have to work on a breaking ball. But definitely an interesting guy given the velo he's bringing, and kind of fits the mold of what you're talking about with Devin Pearson saying they want big guys who throw hard, and he's definitely that.
for sure. Sixth rounder was a right-hander out of Georgia by the name of Leighton Finley, ranked in the top 400 by Baseball America. Uh, let's see, 6'5", 225. Yeah, another
Mm-hmm.
big boy. Was a
Another SEC
reliever.
boy.
Yep, another SEC big body. Was in the rotation as a sophomore and junior. Uh, Fastball, changeup, curveball. Looks like.
Fastball, slider, sinker, changeup, curveball. So pretty wide
Okay.
ranging arsenal. Fastball average 93.5, maxed out at 97. He throws a lot of strikes and misses bats, which is good. Slider was his best secondary, 40% whiff rate on that. Also mixed in a changeup and a curveball on occasion. I think the thing that was interesting is he was a good example of what I was talking about. He's got a pretty different delivery. He's got like that short arm action with some effort behind. So definitely some deception there. As you said, big frame. He's interesting. He doesn't have that lower release. He's kind of like a more vertical profile. So um, someone that I'm very interested to see what it looks like when he gets in the Red Sox pitching dev program.
Mhm, mhm. The seventh rounder was 6'3", 205 lefty out of Texas A&M, Miles Patton. He's ranked 157th by Baseball America on their list, not on MLB's list. Fastball, changeup, slider, it looks like, Ian, with a pretty light fastball.
Yeah, he averaged an 89.5 with that, maxed out at 93. He's like a pitchability type. There's definitely some projection, though, in his frame. Throws a lot of strikes, 82 strikeouts, 17 walks this year in 77 innings. And pretty good shape, though, on his fastball, like 17.9 IVB on it. Has pretty good horizontal break, too. Definitely strikes me as like a candidate for the velocity program. And
Hmm.
he needs to find more consistent secondaries. It's like a pretty, average-ish arsenal right now. But I think what they see is like the success they've had developing guys like Connolly early, Jojo Ingrassia, Hayden Mullins, a lot of left-handed pitchers entered with kind of like low 90s, even high 80s in some case velo. They found more. They've been able to get more velo out of those guys and make them pretty interesting. And I have a feeling that's it strikes me as what the plan is kind of with Patton. And frankly, all the lefties they took are pretty similar profiles, and they're not really hard throwers, but they have some interesting characteristics.
Should mention that Patton transferred from Long Beach State to A&M as a junior. The next pick in the what did we just do Patton? So the eighth rounder was lefty Dylan Brown out of Old Dominion University, 6'5", 230. So that's a big boy right there. But again, like you said, kind of another kind of light fastball guy. He was also ranked 226 Baseball America's list, 237 in ESPN's list.
Yeah, and he's Old Dominion kind of turning into a little bit of a Red Sox pipeline. I believe that's
Yeah,
Noah Dean and
Noah
John
Dean.
Hollabet's is alma
I guess
mater.
that's true.
So
Shout out Clay
third
Meredith.
was it really?
I
I don't
believe
remember.
so. Yeah.
But third Old Dominion guy in the system right now. As you said, huge frame, 6'5", 230, fastball average 90.1 miles an hour, topped out at 94. Slider and changeup both had pretty good bat missing ability. Slider was 33% whiff, changeup was 43%. Um, Actually had reasonably high usage on them too, especially compared to some of the guys we're about to talk about in a little bit. So pretty good feel for his secondaries. Big body, some deception in the delivery. Another one that he's a short strider, 5'8" extension, and he's got that crossfire delivery. So you combine that 3/4 slot with pretty good shape on his fastball, like a lot of arm side run on it. Then he strikes me as a guy that if they can, get a little more velo out of him, he could be pretty interesting.
Mhm. In the ninth round, the Red Sox went back to the well in Baton Rouge, going with LSU right-hander Jacob Myers, who is another big boy, 6'5", 205 though. Could stand to put a little bit of weight on that frame, Ian, probably. What do we have on Myers, who is ranked 304 on Baseball America's list? Who, let's see. Like I said, big boy, but definitely now we're back in guys who throw really hard.
Yeah, Myers had quite an interesting season. He threw 15 innings. He had allowed 4 hits. He allowed 8 runs, and he walked 20 guys and had 26 strikeouts.
There you go.
So didn't get a ton of innings with LSU, but the stuff is premium. If he can throw strikes, he just doesn't really throw strikes that often. He
Mhm.
actually was, I believe, he transferred from Nicholls State, where he was
Correct.
pretty good.
He was effectively
Um,
wild starter, is how BA put it, which sounds about right.
Yeah, but he's as you said, 6'5", 205. Fastball tops out at a 101.8 miles an hour last year. Averaged 96.5 with 22.9 inches of IVB. So really a lot of
Crazy.
IVB. The interesting thing to me is release height is over 7 feet or is above 7, which means he is extremely vertical.
Hmm.
So, that's very different than what they targeted last year. So it's a very different look. And I don't know if he can throw strikes. Like his zone percentage on his fastball was under 40% last year. But if he can, it's a premium arm with insane shape on his fastball. So pretty interesting guy. Slider, splitter, as you said, were his secondaries. Both had Slider had like a 53, 54% whiff rate. Really good. Splitter was above 30, 32, 33%. Both of them, though, like zone percentages around 30%. They're just not strike pitches. So there's a lot to work on here. He's going to have to throw strikes, but if he can, this is a guy you could see that it's potential like premium stuff in a bullpen role.
Hmm. By the way, everyone who posts or visits our forum right now, you all are the best. We've already gone through our monthly allotment of free looks. The ads just pop back up and it's the 14th. That's crazy. All right, Ian, back to position players in the 10th round with a guy who I really hope hits next to Roman Anthony in the lineup someday, Maximus Martin. I
That
really
was a
like
good
that.
one.
This is I definitely stole that from someone on the forum.
Oh,
Speaking,
did you?
I
Okay.
wish I could take
Uh,
credit for that,
you
but
should have said that because I wouldn't have seen it, but fair. I
yes, no,
appreciate your honesty.
yes, I'm nothing if not honest. Um, Martin ranked in the top 200 by Baseball America, just outside of it by MLB at 223. Again, this is a guy who like 10th rounder. Sure, I'm into it.
Yeah.
It's an interesting guy. Hits the snot out of the ball, but is he going to hit it?
Yep. He played at Kansas State last year, I believe. Yep, Kansas
Yep.
State. He had
Transferred twice. He
yeah,
went to from New
Rutgers and Georgia
Jersey,
Southern.
Georgia State.
Or Georgia State, excuse me. Thank you.
Yep. Nope.
But last year he
Yeah.
had 14 home runs, hit 320 in 243 plate appearances with a 420 OBP, 12% walk rate, 23% strikeout. So definitely take a walk. Max EV 104, 114, 90th percentile exit velocity 108.1, which shows a point of reference. Like that's around like what Roman Anthony put up in the minors, granted wood versus metal. So you got to
Metal,
take a
big
few miles an
difference.
hour off that. But still, like, this guy has some pop. There's juice in the bat there. Another big pull side power guy with nice air pull percentage, and he had and some like good angles. 58% hard hit rate last year too. Love
Hmm.
that. The Here's the problems. 29% chase rate and a
Yeah.
69% contact rate
Not
overall.
nice. Not
New.
nice.
It was interesting. I was diving into like specific pitch data though, and this guy he destroys fastballs, and like his
Hmm.
contact rate against fastballs was 88%. So it's the secondaries are giving him the issues here.
Straight ball, he hits very much, but
Yeah,
curveball bats
and
aren't
it
great.
yeah, if you look at it, like he had an 831 slug against excuse me, he had an 831 slug against fastballs, and then it was like much lower against curveballs and spins. So or breaking balls and spin, I should say. So he's gonna have to kind of work on the pitch recognition, it seems like. But I'm 10th round pick. I'm pretty interested by his profile. If he can make contact, there might be some upside here.
For sure. And I mean, defensive home remains to be seen. It's interesting that they're going to play him up the middle at all three up the middle positions, because it seems like the projections tend to have him in a corner, whether it's in the infield or the outfield. I get why you give him a shot, but
Definitely.
interesting. All right. Day, quote unquote, day three picks. So maybe we'll go a little bit speed round. 11th rounder, 6'5", 230 right hander out of Cowley Community College in Kansas, is Barrett Morgan. What do we got on Barrett Morgan, Ian?
Can you count him as a SEC guy since he's committed to A&M?
I'm down. Might as well. Was it A&M or LSU? It was
It's
A&M.
A&M. It's
Okay.
A&M. But yeah, as you said, 6'5", 230, fastball up to 95 with life, sharp curveball in the mid 70s. He was dominant this year in relief, 21 and a third innings, 0.42 ERA, 0.75 whip, and 40 strikeouts to 4 walks. So
All right.
pretty interesting stuff. I'm going to guess this guy's going to require a little bit of a bonus since he's going to A&M. So
Yeah,
kind of makes sense with your 11th round pick. That's usually an overslot type.
mhm.
So it'd be interesting to see what it takes to sign him since I believe Devin Pearson said they plan to sign everyone again.
I was
So
about to say that. Yeah, they're hopeful they can sign everyone. Last night I asked about, how are you going to do, like, what changes doing rounds 4 through 20 in the same day? And he said you need to go into the day knowing what everyone's numbers are. Like, you can't be asking about signability in the middle of the day because you just don't have time. So they have an idea of what it's going to take and they think they have it.
exactly. So no, he's definitely an interesting profile. And another pure reliever, which I think is interesting. That's like three, I believe they've taken up to this point.
Mhm.
So
Which again, I'm to me, everyone taken in the 10th round and earlier, I would not be surprised if they like stretch them. Maybe it's in a piggyback role, but at
I
least
don't know
it's
how you
Salem.
stretch Myers out though. That guy, he walked like 20 guys. I don't know. There's just certain guys that I just don't see how you can stretch. I don't want them
We'll
throwing
see.
more than an inning, frankly.
We'll
But
see.
yeah,
Yeah. Yeah. All right. In the 12th round, we're back in the SEC, Ian, with left-hander Ethan Walker out of the University of Kentucky.
he's another one, kind of like what we talked about Patton earlier. Athletic lefty up to 95, average 91.5 with 18.9 IVB. So guy probably who's destined for their velo program. Slider and changeup both missed bats. Also has a curveball and a cutter. Pitched really well to end the season. He was the MVP, I believe, of the Clemson Regional,
Mm,
or on the all Clemson Regional team. It was one of the two. I can't remember. And so performed best against the best competition late in the season. 46 and a
love to
third
see
innings,
it.
4.08 ERA, 1.32 whip, 49 strikeouts, 16 walks this year with Kentucky. Pretty interesting guy. I think there's definitely some traits to build on here. And as I said, I'm very pro taking athletic lefties with who have some projection in their frame because the Red Sox have done a good job of kind of like with that profile of elevating it.
Hmm. Hmm. We're back on the hitter side of things, Ian, in the next round with the local boy, Jack Winay, 6'3", 210 out of Wake Forest. Like we said, he's from Newton. Um, Not the toolsiest guy, but, or he hits the ball hard into the pull side.
Yeah,
So,
he's another one who fits that mold of what they were looking for. He had a 52.5% air pull percentage, which actually is the highest of all the Red Sox draftees in this class.
mhm.
Plays his angles really well. Hard hit launch angle is pretty close to ideal. It's 21 degrees. Launch angle pull side is pretty good too. As you said, he hits the ball hard. 90th percentile EV was 103.5 this year. Pretty good barrel rate. And the thing that's interesting for me with him is 20%, only a 20% chase rate, so slightly above average, and then an 88% zone contact rate.
Don't
So
hate it.
this is a guy who makes a lot of contact in the zone. And I think that if they can find some more consistency there, I think there could be a pretty, an interesting guy. I thought it was surprising when I was looking at his stats. I didn't really. He only had 296 this year at Wake Forest. So I wonder if he got BABIP to death pretty hard. I'm actually curious. I can look that right now because I don't know. Just looking at the profile, I would have thought he would have hit a little bit. He had a 310 BABIP this year, which I think for metal bats is low, and a lot of
Mhm.
that is because here you go against fastballs. He had a 244 batting average on balls in play. So I don't know if that's a
Yeah.
lot of mishits or what, but um, seems like a guy who maybe if they can get more bat speed out of him, maybe that could mitigate some of the issues against fastballs and could become, someone who has a chance as a right power contact guy.
Mhm. Baseball America had him in their top 400, and they noted that Wake Forest's park is particularly hitter friendly. So
Yeah,
who knows? Ian, in the next round we go to one of my favorite players in this
Homer,
class. Huh?
such a
Hey,
homer.
hey, you do not get to comment,
What are
sir.
you talking about? I'm
Sir. That's right-hander Carter Rasmussen out of Wofford. Wofford's the one that's up the road from Greenville, right? I
I
believe
think you're
it's in the
thinking of
area.
Furman, maybe.
Am I thinking of
Let's see.
Furman? Maybe.
Wofford is in
Wofford.
Spartanburg. Nope, you're correct.
I am damn
Yep.
right.
It's
That's
right near
right.
Clemson, I guess. But yeah,
Yeah, that area, it's like Wofford, USC Upstate, Clemson, Furman.
University of Greenville or North Greenville. I can't remember what it's called. There's
Yeah.
there because
Yeah.
the only reason I know that, or well, I know it because I've been there, but also there was someone drafted from North Greenville today.
That sounds right. Yeah, there's a bunch of schools in that area. But anyways, transferred to Wofford after 2 years pitching in relief at Brown.
Smart man, get out of there while you can.
Come on, dude. Jesus.
Oh, come on. You went to Brown. You know
Uh,
the joke there.
Hey, I'm salty today because we lost Zach Fogel to the full season IL, but they replaced him with Rasmussen. It's interesting that he threw in relief at Brown and he was in relief at Wofford, and they drafted him in the 14th round. Not a player archetype that I think usually leads to a major league,
I'm gonna throw it
or at
out
least a
there.
professional
Do you think
career.
do you think he's the first person ever to transfer from Wofford to Brown?
Brown to
Or
Wofford,
excuse me, from Brown to Wofford?
it wouldn't surprise me. It wouldn't. So I can't imagine
I
that.
just feel like that's not a very common
I
route
cannot imagine. And it's
for
not
your
like
college
he's from
experience.
South Carolina. I want to say
No,
he's
do you know where he's
from.
from? He's from Minnesota.
Well, his hometown is Texas. It says here in
Oh,
the
really? I
Red
think he's
Sox
from
release.
Minnesota. I thought
Well,
that's
maybe he
what
was
his
born in Minnesota and moved to Texas. Because
because if you look
sometimes they do where you were born, and this says hometown on what the Red Sox sent
I thought
out.
he was from I might have just made that up. I thought
Yeah. Anyway,
someone was from Minnesota. Maybe that wasn't him.
no,
There was
nope.
someone there was I don't it probably wasn't him. There was one of the draftees is from Minnesota, which surprised me because of where they ended up.
I
Um
I see no one from Minnesota. I'm looking at all of their hometowns. There's a Massachusetts and there's a Mississippi. I don't
I will
see a
find out.
Minnesota.
I will
We'll
find out
find
and
out.
report back on the next episode.
Okay. Anyways, Carter Rasmussen, right-hander, 6'5", 235, big boy.
Yep, another big boy. Another guy who throws hard too. He was up to 97 this year, average 92.5 with 20.2 inches of IVB. So really interesting shape there. 30% whiff rate on the fastball, which is one of the highest of the Red Sox draftees. Pitching wise, he is as you said, he was I believe he both relieved and started this year,
I
but
didn't think he
47.
started much, but I could
Okay.
be wrong.
He threw 47 and 2/3 innings, which is part of why I'm guessing that. But 3.21 ERA, 1.20 whip with 63 strikeouts in 16 innings. Secondaries include a cutter, curveball, slider, and changeup. So I would assume they're going to par that down a little bit. It was mostly fastballs. He threw like 81% fastballs this year, though. So really
Started one
interesting.
game.
Was it okay? I knew there was one starter there, but really interesting fastball. Another vertical release height guy over 6 there. But yeah, I mean, 20.2 IVB on a fastball. Granted, it's the college ball, so there's definitely it's usually higher, but some interesting shape characteristics with his fastball, and clearly was a good pitch if you put up those numbers while throwing it like 82% of the time.
Yeah, I mean big strikeout numbers, but like it's kind of funny because his summer numbers are just weirdly, especially I don't know, whatever. Who knows about summer
Yeah.
numbers? Um, okay, yeah, moving on. We got 6 left. We got another hitter coming up here at 15 overall, going to the Big 12 with outfielder Skylar King from West Virginia. King is a left-hander, left-handed hitter, left-handed thrower, 6'1", 180.
Mm-hmm. Looks like he definitely needs to get stronger. Watch this video there, and his EVs are on the lowest end of the class. He makes a ton of contact. Like his strikeout rate and walk rate, I think were 1-to-1. I want to say, yeah, 11% each. 13 stolen bases. Good athlete, can really defend. He's a center fielder with potential like above average plus defensive profile and good speed. Our impactability is a real question. They're gonna have to. That's something he's really gonna have to work on. He actually has done well with wood bat before, though. He played really well in the Cape last summer, and but this year you look really low barrel rate, high chase rate, but insanely good zone contact. And actually, surprisingly, he's got the lowest air pull percentage of anyone in the draft. So, or for them, excuse me, I should say, of the Red Sox draft class. So, and his angles are pretty poor. So, someone who probably they're going to have to work with the swing there, but 93% zone contact. We like that. So, definitely some things to work there when you combine that with the speed and defense that he could bring.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm. For sure. Moving on, we're going to D3, Ian, with the D3 pitcher of the year, I believe, right?
Correct. He
Jason
also,
Gilman
yeah, he's from Keene University, who I guess is a powerhouse in Division 3. I learned a lot about
in New
Division 3
Jersey.
baseball today.
We need
Opponents
to
at one.
get Jordan and Jake on here to talk about him.
Opponents at 195 against him, 112 innings, 2.08 ERA, 150 strikeouts, 32 walks this year. He threw 153 or 152 pitches in a game. So yeah, that's a lot of pitches. Excuse me, 151. I want to specify. And if you're interested, I would just suggest looking up Jason Gilman on Twitter because there's some pretty funny comments about it from that
Wait,
game
about what? The
about Jason Gilman's 151 pitch outing.
Oh
I
crap. Yeah.
sent you guys the post.
I
Um,
was working, but
there,
yeah.
I would suggest you look. Here, I'll send them to you
Okay.
right now. Let's get your live reaction.
Okay, yes, yes.
Don't read them though.
Speaking of Jake and Jordan,
Do not read them though, because
don't read them out loud.
no. Well, one of them can't be read out loud. One of them could be.
I'm just gonna put in a string of expletive bleeps. Bronson Arroyo-esque, put it that way.
Yeah, I mean this guy rules. I'm all in now. But yeah,
151 pitches of pure
I mean,
guts.
if you're that into D3 baseball, like that's fantastic. So yeah, I who knows? He had the least info of anyone. There's not a lot out there about him, but we'll kind of we'll see what happens, and you never know. With guys like that, like Michael Sansone, I didn't think much of when he entered New York, and he's one of my favorite pitchers to watch just because of how quickly he works and how many strikes he
He
throws.
just
So
fills the zone. Yeah.
yeah, you never. Those guys can be valuable players.
100%. All right. Moving along, Ian, we're back in the SEC. Of course, we get 2 more SEC pitchers. This is right-hander. Do we think it's Patrick Gale or Gailey? Right-handed pitcher, 6'2", 215 out of Ole Miss. He's from Biloxi. What do we got on Patrick?
Gale is another guy who has not thrown much. He didn't throw much this year. He threw 7 innings, 13 hits, 7 earned runs, 2 walks, 9 strikeouts. He's currently pitching for Wareham in the Cape Cod League, which I thought was interesting. A lot of strikeouts, a lot of walks in the Cape League. Pure reliever, fastball average 96.4 this year, maxed out at 99.2 miles an hour. So another hard throwing righty. Secondaries are a cutter and a slider, and yeah, just another hard throwing, big bodied righty who we'll see if he can throw strikes consistently.
Mhm. Moving on to our last SEC arm, it's left-hander Cade Fisher, 6'3", 202 out of Auburn. Why do I have in my head that he transferred? Is that right or
He
no?
did from the University of Florida. He was a double SEC,
There you go.
so you were correct.
I was.
But yeah, yeah,
Most
Fisher's
of these guys
interesting.
transfer at this point,
Yeah, I
honestly.
mean, I genuinely wonder. I feel like there's probably less who did never transferred than did.
I noticed this trend last year too. Like most of these guys have transferred between team. I mean, look at like Toley transferred.
Yeah, but it's like not to get on a soapbox, but back in my day, you're not transferred from Florida to Auburn. You know what I mean?
Right. Oh God. Yeah.
Like,
Jeez. Can you imagine?
yeah. So it's just a different era of college
Get
sports
run
with
out of
that.
town.
Yeah, it's just a different, completely different
Very different.
way things are
But
done now.
Cade Fisher. And
Interesting guy.
actually, did you mention that Gale or Gailey is a draft eligible sophomore?
I did not. He is
Okay,
the only one I believe who's a draft eligible sophomore, right?
that is correct. Cade
Kate
Fisher,
Fish
who's a junior.
Fisher, another projectable lefty, 6'3", 202. Interesting thing to me, biggest extension guy in the class, 6'9" on his
Yep.
fastball, or 6.9 on his fastball.
Nice.
Really low release height. He fits kind of more the mold of what we saw from last year's draft class, whereas I was talked about earlier, this year's draft class, there's more of like diverse angles when it comes to their deliveries and release height and thing like that. Fastball averaged 87 miles an hour this year, topped out at 94, so he's like high 80s. Definitely going to a candidate for the velo program. Slider and changeup worked as both a starter and a reliever this year. 42 and a third innings, 4.68 ERA, 1.44 WHIP with 54 strikeouts and 23 walks.
Nice. By the way, we already have an undrafted free agent, so
Ooh, breaking
we'll get
news.
your reaction. But let's finish up these guys first. Our last position player, our only high schooler, it's outfielder Fabian Bonilla out of Christian Military Academy in Puerto Rico from Vega Baja in Puerto Rico. What do we got on Fabian Bonilla? Sometimes these guys don't have a lot of information
Not a
on them.
lot. I mean, there's some video of
Yeah.
him from some perfect game tournaments, but I thought it was interesting. These last two picks were mirror images of two picks they had last year. In the what was it 17th round last year, they took. Yep, 17th round last year they took Jan Cruz, an outfielder
Yep.
out of Puerto Rico, and then the 20th round they took Ben Hansen, a right-hander out of BYU. This year they did the exact same thing in the 19th and the 20th round, or but in the 19th and then the 20th round, 19th round, as you said, Fabian Bonilla, and then the 20th round was a right-handed pitcher from BYU. In terms of
Second year
Bonilla,
in a row.
yep, not a lot of information out there about him. 6'2", 200-pound right-handed hitter, good athlete. He's played first base, third base, and outfield. He was ranked 7th in Puerto Rico by perfect game and 481st overall in the high school class by the perfect game as well. He is committed to Florida Southwestern State College, which I believe is a JUCO.
I think that's correct. Yeah. Yep. And then we've got to round out with our 20th round BYU draftee. It's right-hander Garrison Sumner, 6'3", 194 out of BYU. Speaking of rivalries, was a freshman at Utah.
Oh,
Tra-
yeah, you
yeah,
can't do that.
transferred to a JUCO for a year and then went to BYU for a year.
Oh wow, yeah, that's not a traditional route there.
No, no, sir.
Fastball average 90.3 miles an hour this year, maxed out at 95.5. Pretty intriguing shape on the fastball. It is 19.1 IVB, 11.2 horizontal break, short strider, but pretty flat fastball. So interesting characteristics with the pitch there. Seems like it has some life. Um, Also has a slider and a changeup. Both had whiff rates greater or miss rates greater than 45% this year. So it was interesting. His data does not match up the numbers. The numbers this year were pretty rough. 61 and 2/3 innings, 8.32 ERA, 1.72 WHIP, 60 strikeouts, 24 walks. But it seems like he got hit around pretty well. But there's definitely some intriguing pitch shapes here, and maybe they can extract some value out of those.
For sure. Ian, the undrafted free agent, is outfielder Andrews Opata out of North Georgia. He's a junior, but is apparently signing. It looks like a speedy outfield type. In his career, this year alone, he stole 41 bases in 58 games. Hit 368, 446, 570 for North Georgia in the Peach Belt Conference.
Is that
Uh,
D2, I would guess?
I would guess D2. It's definitely D2 or D3. It's definitely not
Yeah,
D1.
I mean it's not D1, yeah.
Yeah. I'm getting strong like Keir Meredith vibes.
Yeah,
In part because you go to his North Georgia page and it's loaded with like Presidential Honor Roll Silver Scholar and addition academic distinction in addition to his third team All American, D2, D2 third team All American this year, Southeast All Region first team, like, you know, Chick-fil-A Nighthawk of the Week for April 28th, which is the most Georgia thing ever. I
very
love it.
Georgia.
Um,
Is he committed to D1 school, do we
I
know, or is
don't
he?
know. Well, no, I can't imagine. I mean, if he was there all 3 years.
Oh,
So
was he? Okay.
yeah,
Hmm.
yeah. Actually, you know what? Let's check his IG because
That would have it. Yeah.
that would have it. It does not appear that he is. He's
No.
he's just straight up North Georgia all the way. Love it.
All right. I mean, as we said, they're probably going to have to go out and sign a few undrafted free agent position players just to fill rosters because you look at what we have projected for 2026. You said he's an outfielder, right?
I did. I did.
Yeah. You
So they
look at
needed
what
some.
we have projected for Salem right now. We have Nathaniel Utan repeating for what, the third year? Um, we have Edwin Brito playing DH, who is hitting 140 in the FCL this year. And then we have Skylar King, who's a drafty, and then Anderson Fermin as the opening day center fielder. So there's definitely room to add a center fielder or an outfielder there. So
Mhm.
I have a feeling he's going to be the first of a few undrafted free agents.
Yeah, I mean, there's going to be at least one catcher. Like there just has to be, if not two. So
Yeah. It'll
yeah.
be interesting if they what they do like with the position players this season because I mean if you look at the rosters right now, for example, Salem basically only has four outfielders. I guess Kareem Ayubase, he can play first base or outfield.
Hmm.
But they definitely could even use some position player depth in the low minors right now. So I wonder if we see the hitters get activated within the next couple of weeks, at least a few of them.
Hmm. Hmm. Let's see. I'm seeing if searching on Twitter is not going to work. They
Search does not
destroyed
work. Yeah.
their search engine. You want to do some draft emails, Ian?
Sure. Do you want to just briefly talk about like the signing deadline? Because I know we know the date now and just kind of run through how that works.
Sure. Yeah. Well, the rule is that it's either 2 weeks after the draft or August 1st, whichever is sooner, I believe. And so this year it's going to be 5 p.m. on the 28th of July. Um, if you head to our draft history page on the website, it'll tell you like what the pool looks like. The Red Sox will spend up to 5% over their draft cap bonus because there's no reason not to. You just pay a tax on the overage, which is really not all that much.
Well, and no team's ever going to go above the 5%.
No, because then you start losing picks, which
You
is
lose a
just
first
silly.
round pick, which is crazy.
Yeah. Well, they basically made it a hard cap that
Yeah.
way. So, yeah, that's, I mean, it explains it on there, but it's the total bonus value for every player in the first 10 rounds, plus any bonus amounts for players after that that are over 150,000. So when all of those guys get $150,000 signing bonuses, don't be confused. I remember talking to a scout once fairly recently where he was like, this guy got 150K. I was like, yeah, he was a day three guy. They had no reason not to. He was like, makes sense.
Also, can
So,
you explain just in case some people see it, the
yes.
147.25 thing or whatever,
So some
147 to 5 thing?
years it's weird. I don't think they did this last year. I think last year they just did round
It was
numbers, but
last year, it
there's,
was round numbers. Yeah. I
yeah,
just
but
remember
like,
we've seen it in the past. So I just wanted to,
yeah, if they start doing this thing where everything is like 2,500 or sorry, 20, yeah, $2,500 less
yeah.
than,
Every
or
bonus, you mean?
yeah, then then like a round number. Is it 2,500 or 25,000?
I think it was 2,500.
Okay. Yeah. So if you see like 147,500, it's because you can give like a $2,500 like college money bonus that doesn't count towards the cap. But like they didn't use it last year, so I doubt they will this year, but who knows? That's the
Yeah,
thing that
it
some
was
teams use to
2,500 because I'm
game the, yeah,
looking back at 2021, they were
that's what
giving
it
out
was.
122,500 that year.
Yep. Because at that point it was 125K after on day
Mhm.
three. So
Yeah.
that's what that is if that happens, but that's highly unlikely, I think, just because they haven't, that's the only year I think they did that. Um, but anyway, yeah, I mean, these guys will sign quick. As you mentioned, Ian, none of the early pitchers are going to pitch. The only pitchers that are going to pitch are going to be guys who are late and undrafted free agents. So, for
Yeah.
example, last year it was Calvin Bickerstaff, the undrafted free agent, Cole Tolbert, who was the 18th rounder, I want to say. Griffin Calander, who was the 19th rounder.
Nope, 16th.
16th. Yeah.
Yep.
And there was one more, or was that the three?
I think that was the three
I
because
think that was the three.
the rest of the guys were all hurt. They were all coming back from Tommy John.
Well, not even that.
Um,
Well, no, or they were working out in Florida, is what I'm
yeah, no,
saying.
no, but I'm saying that. Sorry, I was just thinking of the guys after the
The
15th
late
round because
guys. Well, like Hanson didn't. Hanson didn't. He
Bouchard,
wasn't coming off of.
Gartrell.
But Hanson was the 20th rounder, and he
Oh,
didn't
you're right.
pitch.
Yeah,
Yeah.
fair.
But like the position players, like the last year, the three position players were Zach Erhard, Will Turner, and Hudson White. They all skipped straight to Greenville. So I would not be surprised if you see like White and Martin certainly go straight to and who was the guy from
Godbout.
yesterday? Godbout. They're almost certainly all going to go to Greenville. So
It would be interesting if they do that though, because there's just not a lot of playing time in
that's
Greenville right
true.
now.
There's not a lot of well, I think we're going to start seeing some guys move, and I guess we should mention some of the other transactions from today. Ian, the Red Sox released right-handed pitcher Christopher Troy and infielder Luis Ravello, who were in Portland. Ravello was on the dev list, so he doesn't actually even open up a roster spot there, but he opens up a spot on the domestic reserve list, which maybe I should explain that as well. Also heard per Andrew Parker that Jacob Webb and Cooper Adams are moving up from Greenville to Portland. I think we're going to have some movement coming out of the break, and I think we're going to start seeing some more movement maybe after the deadline because they're not going to want to move guys before trades because they want to see how things shake down before they start moving guys around. So
Yeah,
I think you're going to start seeing a lot of movement, and that's the point where guys have signed. So what's going to happen is all these guys are going to sign. They're all going to go down to Fort Myers together that last week of July, first week of August for like basically orientation. It's like pro ball orientation. They go down there, they get to know each other, and then some of them, like some of the hitters, will go to Salem or Greenville on assignment. Most of the pitchers will start working out there, and then after a while, you might see one or two guys go up to Salem to pitch, but it's not going to be more than like three or four. So that's how that will wind up working out. Domestic reserve list. One last procedural thing. As we've mentioned in the past, teams are limited to 165 players in season who are at one of the four affiliates or at the complex. And this includes guys who are at the complex when the FCL is done. So this is just all minor leaguers stateside. Draftees count within 2 weeks after they sign, or it's 2 weeks or 15 days, same difference. The Red Sox right now, I think, are at like 153 out of 165 after the cuts today. And let me check 152, sorry, out of 165 after the releases and guys they put on the long term IL. So, that's they're 13 under, expect them to make like seven more spots. I would not be surprised if a lot of it winds up coming out of the FCL, honestly, but we'll see. So you'll start to see some movement that way, just as they start to make room for some of the draftees. Did I get all of the stuff I need to get on that stuff, Ian?
yeah, and I think just if you're interested in kind of just some guesstimations of what the bonuses and everything are going to look like, Mike does a great job on the
Yeah,
forum breaking that down. There's a whole draft signing thread where Mike kind of runs through his projections, and it's always a fun game, kind of see how close he can get. So definitely check that out.
let's get to some emails, Ian. Podcast at soxprospects.com. We got a few that are draft related, so we're going to get to those tonight. And the first one, Ian, comes from the CNN news desk from our friend John Berman, who asks a couple of questions. His first question is, how much of a pitching log jam does this create in the minors? Which I honestly think is a fair question.
It is when you look at next year's projected rosters, which check it out. We have the 2026 projected pages now up, and yeah, there's a lot of pitchers at a lot of levels. Like right now, I
Yes.
that was really good English, Ian. But like you look at Greenville, for example, and we currently have 6 starters projected there, and then you have a couple guys from this draft and other guys who were starting this year in low A. So yeah, I
I
don't
mean,
know how they're gonna
we
do
talked
it.
about coming out of camp. They had to keep guys a level below. They would have started them.
Yeah,
Aida was a guy who probably could have started in Greenville, and they just didn't have
Hayden
room for him.
Mullins.
Hayden Mullins starting in Greenville instead of Portland. Like Brandon Clark went to Salem for 3 starts, and they realized this is stupid. Let's get him to Greenville. So
Well,
yeah, I
didn't
think it does.
Jordani Monegro start in Greenville too?
No, he was in Portland.
Did he? Okay,
He
sorry.
ended last year in Portland.
Oh, right. Who am I thinking of? That I don't know.
We Hunt? No, not We Hunt.
No. Oh,
He's way
Eduardo
back.
Rivera was who I was thinking of.
Thank you. Yep.
Yep.
And John's second question is, how does this impact the likeliness of trade of position players, which we talked about? Does it make it less likely that Arias, Garcia, Romero would be available in trades given the limited number of highly rated position prospects in the system? And Ian, I think with those guys, like maybe Arias less so, but like Romero and just Nixon Garcia, they're high enough in the system that I don't think the draft really affects that piece of things.
No, but
Maybe
I think
Arias
what
a little more, but
I think what I kind of agree what he's getting at. And I do wonder, and I think I can't remember if we talked about this a little bit earlier, but there's just not a lot of room for position players on the major league team right now.
yeah,
So
exactly.
it's
I
like
mean, where are
if
you going
you
to play him?
trade Justin Garcia or Franklin Arias, even is that the end of the world? Because the odds are with Garcia, maybe there is a pathway if Rob Refsnyder retires, but with Franklin Arias, he's probably 3 years away. By that time, you're hoping that Marcelo Myers establishes the everyday shortstop. I guess maybe you think second base could be open if Christian Campbell's not going to play there. But I don't know. I just think it's hard to plan that far out with position player prospects. If they're the keys to get a deal done, you're probably just pulling that. You're pulling the trigger there and just
Mhm.
figure it out later.
Well, and like with Justin Garcia, the thing with him is it's like if you find a team that values him as a potential everyday outfielder, you make that trade because what is the path to Garcia being an everyday outfielder for the Boston Red Sox right now?
Well, there isn't a path for an everyday. There's a path for a fourth outfielder,
That's what I'm
but
saying.
yeah,
That's my point. That's
yeah.
exactly my point. Um, all right. Our
They,
next
they already
question.
don't
Oh,
have
go
enough
ahead.
room for the guys they have on their roster who are
They
established MLB
almost don't
players.
have room for Christian Campbell, like
Well, no, they
which
don't have room for Christian Campbell as currently constituted.
right now, exactly. I mean, like, look, they do in the future because it's not like Abraham Toro is this team's forever first baseman, but like
Yeah,
they have too many guys.
yeah.
So, Ian, this next question, I don't know if I'll read it. We'll see where it goes. Ben asks a question about signing Anthony Ianson. He says, can you game out how the Red Sox might approach signing him? His current slot value is round about $1 million. The Sox can realistically shave X amount from their other picks. And if you can offer specific guesses, great. We're not going to do that right here. That's just not good audio.
No, that's what I was saying. That's what Mike does. So definitely, I
Yeah.
would say just check out Mike's thread on the forum because Mike
Yeah.
does a great job with that stuff. That's exactly what the thread is just him gaming out the
Mhm.
bonus pools.
Yeah, but he says, look, if he probably has an ex NIL offer to return to LSU, if he goes back to school and all goes well, he can be a blank round pick next year. I mean, look, at some point, when you have so many teams that are model driven, age matters.
Yeah, it's
Coming
also
out,
when you're a college junior, becoming a college senior, you just have a lot less leverage as a college senior.
yeah, yeah. So it's like, yeah, he's got NIL leverage now, but he's not necessarily going to have it later. So,
I'm gonna guess he's not getting seven figures in NIL, which is what I would assume the bonus he's gonna get is because you look at like he was projected 40 by MLB, 32 BA, 45 ESPN. If you take like the high marker, that would be 33. That's a $2.9 million bonus. That's the same spot where Marcus Phillips was taken.
mhm.
Let's say you push that down to the lower end. What is the 45th pick in the draft worth slot wise? Let's look. So that would have been what, comp A? Nope. Second round. 45th pick has a slot value of 2.17 million. So maybe he takes a little less than that, but like I think it's gonna take 2 million, a million five at least, maybe more to get him.
I mean, look, you've got 600K and just the 5% overage. And I think that's the part that people always forget about. You've got
Yeah.
600K to play with above slot values that you don't have to take from anybody
Well,
else.
and if they took him in the third round, they're signing him. Like
Sure.
that's
Yeah. He's signing.
but my
Like,
point was just I don't think like when you're this early in the draft, I don't think you have a lot of leverage with the NIL stuff because you're
or I
not
should,
getting
yeah.
NIL equivalent to that.
Or I should say he's signing unless there's some kind of weird Judd Fabian
Yes.
situation where
Yes.
like there's miscommunication or like someone's getting interesting advice.
Yeah.
Our next question, Ian, is from Nathaniel. And he says, I have a couple of related questions I'd love to hear your thoughts on. One, as you've spoken with scouts in the lead up to the draft, to what degree do you get the sense, either from inside or outside the Red Sox organization, that the team's ability to effectively evaluate players has been harmed by the many layoffs of scouts under Craig Breslow, or is it too soon to say? First of all, I think many layoffs of scouts, I don't know if that's quite correct. I think more of the scout. I think the scouts that let go are mostly like pro scouting, not amateur scouting, too.
No, they
By the
let a
way,
few amateur
I
scouting
know they let
guys
a few
go.
go, and this isn't counting, the one that just got reported on. But
Yeah.
like, there's fewer of them. To me, I think were you the one that I was listening to saying like I'm all for like more data? I think this was when you
Yeah.
and Jeff were talking about it.
Yeah.
Like to me, get
Well, I think it was
guys.
Alex actually, but yeah.
Was it Alex? Yeah.
Yeah.
Get guys out there to see guys in person and use your models.
Well, that's the thing is I think it's just they're going about it a different way now.
Hmm.
They're
I think that's
still
fair.
like getting eyes on them. They have more video scouts now. They're just not getting those in-person looks as much to the same extent. Like with the guys they're taking early in the draft, they're getting eyes on those guys.
Oh, of course.
And I think that it's just it's hard to judge now because it's just a different way to do it. And it needs to be said, this isn't just a Red Sox thing. There are a lot of teams that don't send scouts out
More
to the high
draconian
minors.
too. Yeah.
Like there are some teams that don't really have scouts at all.
Yeah. They
But
just, it's,
they're
I
like,
mean, that's how you wind up with 20 pitcher drafts. I'll just say it that way.
yeah. But like if you look at the Twins, for example, the Twins don't scout the high minors at all. So
Mhm.
like the Red Sox, I just think like it's different because we haven't seen the Red Sox go this route yet. But the thing is, they're not alone in it. Like there's a bunch of MLB teams that have gone this route. There are others that have zagged and gone the other way, like LA, Arizona, et cetera, where you see those scouts everywhere. But I think that's the way the game goes, and we don't know if it's right what the right or wrong way is,
Mhm. Mhm.
because at the end of the day, you're judged by how successful you are on the field. So
Yeah. And Nathaniel has a related question where he says, is there a relationship between Breslow's emphasis on player development and his cuts to the scouting ranks? In other words, does the team now believe it's more important to invest in the former than in the latter? And if so, why? And Ian, I think I take issue with the premise. They're not taking money out of scouting. They are
yeah,
moving it. It's being used on analysts. It's being used on, people who work their
data
model.
guys,
It's
yeah,
data guys.
yeah.
It's being repurposed.
It's a reorganization. It's
Yes.
they're
It's
not
not de
cutting
emphasis.
you're not cutting budget A to pay budget B. You're reorganizing budget A into a different breakdown of how you're using it.
Hmm. Exactly.
And that's yeah, I think that's kind of the difference.
Hmm. Austin asked a question that isn't necessarily a draft question, but it's close enough. And so we'll close on this one, Ian, where he says, hey guys, if a starting pitcher and an up the middle position player both have the same grade, a 55, for example, which is more valuable in your opinion? I think there's like two ways to answer this that I have in my head. One is like, give me the up the middle hitter over the potentially breakable pitcher every day. Three ways to answer. On the other hand, like a 55 pitcher is such a valuable piece, but
I
on
mean,
the
that's like a
third,
$25 million a year player.
right. But and the third way is like, it depends, right? Like I could
Yeah,
see
it's
us
really case
ranking,
specific.
it's going to be case specific because I mean, you look at our rankings, right? And you look at like the 45 tier, you've got hitters with pitchers with, granted, none of them are up the middle, which is why
Yeah.
I was gonna point to like, oh, well, look how we compare guy X and guy Y. The closest comparison is we've got 50s on both Franklin Arias and Luis Perales. We've got Arias ahead right now, which I know like you would probably love to have Perales, although I think you had Arias at 4, but like,
I think the
we've gone
better
back and
comparison
forth, I think is
would
the
be
way to put it.
totally an Arias.
But we've got totally with a higher grade. I don't think that
Yeah,
one's close.
fair. No,
But
I
it's
don't
like if
think it
you look
is
at the
either.
45s, it's like, Garcia, Tibbs, Clark, Valera early, Sandlin, Romero. I guess Blaze is at the end and he's an up the middle guy. Um, but it depends, right? Because it's like, yeah, we've got Sandlin, because then you got to you incorporate floor, ceiling, why that guy is a 45 or a 50, et cetera, versus another guy. It's case specific, I think, is really what it comes down to.
It is. I think I'm sure there's some financials where if you looked at like the contracts that two similar war, like a pitcher and a position player got,
Hmm.
I would guess the position player would just get more because teams are willing to pay. They're willing to give longer contracts to position players because there's more health certainty.
Sure.
So the answer is probably a position player for that regard, but I think it's very team specific. Like if you're the Pirates, for example, you're taking a hitter, but if you're the Red Sox, you're probably taking a pitcher given the team. So it's a lot of like what your team is currently constructed like.
Hmm. Exactly. Exactly. All right. Well, that'll do it. Anything else, Ian, before we wrap up? All right. Well, thank you all for listening. We appreciate it. Thank you to the Ludlow Thieves for our intro and outro music. All the money. Listen to their stuff wherever it is that you can listen to music. Thank you to our supporters on patreon.com/Sox Prospects. This week, we want to thank Dan Callahan, Bradley Stats, Bennett L. Ray, Brandon Bossert, Mark, correct me if I'm wrong on the, just correct me because I'm definitely going to be wrong, but Mark Samaji, Montana, and Big Dog Lover. Thank you all for your support. Follow us on socials at Sox Prospects. Ian's at Ian Kundle. I'm at SP Chris Hatfield. We'll be back in your eardrums soon with our next episode. I don't know if it'll be this week or early next. But hey, y'all come back now. You hear? Thanks, everybody.